Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Sunday morning, and we bring you fire. I don't know. That sounded kind of weird. Anyways, we bring you Mr. Todd Baldwin. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. And today for my hand gestures, I got the Spider-Man.
I like that one. I like that one. Hey,
Thank
folks,
you.
a couple of quick things. First and foremost, I finally spent some money and I have a camera. So I'm looking at the camera instead of looking down here. It is very odd for me. So hopefully you're noticing a quality difference. Yes, I am investing in the channel. Slowly, I'm trying. So anyways, what we're going to do here, Todd, is I want to bring up a spreadsheet about my market, Fresno, California. It is going to be an example, and it's going to be an example for folks that they should do learning their market. And I bring this up because more and more people are going to talk about a housing crash and frankly not know what they are talking about. Tell me if you've heard this before, Todd. Housing is very expensive and thus has to crash. Have you heard that before?
Every freaking YouTuber who thinks they're smart.
Yeah. Second, interest rates are going up. Housing has to crash. Have you heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I've been doing this a long time. And I've given you a 50-year spreadsheet. I've talked about the affordability index. We're going to go into the gory details because I'm to the point where I'm irritated. You can see a crash coming. And if you read my book, where is it? That one right there. I talk about how we had 8 houses. It became unaffordable. We got out via 1031 exchanges and we survived the housing crash because we got out. We saw it coming. There is a leading indicator and it's called the affordability index. I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers all the way back to, I think, 1980. Then we're going to look at charts because some people like numbers, some people like charts. And we're going to talk about why it's an early indicator. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, now I got to look at my computer instead of my camera. So this is, I got to get used to this, but we'll figure it out. All right, so hopefully you can see this now. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to start with numbers. So actually it goes back not to 80 to 92. So this affordability index is, and actually, oh, by the way, I love giving data. So this is the links to where you can find it. The St. Louis Fed, folks, if you want housing data, go to the St. Louis Fed. They give endless amounts of data you can find. They are a treasure trove. And then the affordability for me is done by CAR, California Association of Realtors. So that's the source of this data. I did not make this data up. All right. So it used to be done on a monthly basis. And then as you see here in 2001, it went quarterly. So what I've done is I've collected data back to 1991 in December, and then I went to Q4. So that's why these numbers are different. And what you see here in column B is affordability. So let's define what affordability is and what 51 means. 51% means 51% of the average Fresno citizen could buy the average home. That's what this means, right? And at the time in 1991, the average home was 104 grand. Were they higher? Of course they were. Were they lower? Of course they were. These are all about medians or averages. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And
what you will do, we'll do the numbers first. And then of course we have pretty graphs. You will see that the numbers for a long time were in the 50s and started going down in 2001. I actually started buying in 2002, Q4. So it just got under 48%. And what you will see is we had a financial crisis that peaked in, at least affordability got its lowest in Q4 of 2005. Okay. But you will see housing went up for another year. Look at that. Went up another 10 grand. Affordability leads prices because what happens when affordability gets below 20%? You go from 1 and 2, right? 50%, 1 and 2 to 1 in 5. You're basically wringing out how many people can buy. And you're doing bad loans, right? Liar loans, stated income loans, teaser loans, neg-am loans. That's the only way banks could lend is to find more and more people because lots of people already owned homes. Does this make sense where we are?
Absolutely.
So if you go up here, there's a chart called Fresno affordability, and you can see, right? It's bouncing around 50% for a long time and then goes way down when lending got stupid. But you can see housing was after, right? Housing peaked a year after affordability crashed, right? So it rolls over. And then, oh, by the way, it rolls over for quite a while, right? You can see that housing went down in my market. Let's see, 1, it went down for like 15 years. So let's do this. So 2006 is when it peaked.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see a return to that number. Wow. Until last year, or to Q4 of 2021. And it blew right past it. So a couple of things. Other people talk about buy and hold like that's what they will do. What I'm doing in this video is I'm not a buy and hold forever, like I'm never going to sell. If you want to overpay for anything I own, I will gladly sell. And I use affordability on my single family homes. For my apartments, I use cap rates, right? I know the historical cap rate for my market. It got stupid low and I sold. Mm-hmm. For my houses, I 1031. For my apartments, I couldn't find anything to buy. So I paid the IRS, right? I wanted out because I'm happy. I'd rather have cash than an asset that I think's in trouble. Mm-hmm. So does this make sense?
It does, absolutely. And I think if people are concerned that we're headed for another 2006, 2008 scenario, I just want to know they're not making these bad loans like they were back then. No change. We could still see a correction to be sure, but people who weren't qualified to buy houses were buying them. And then those loans were sold to Wall Street and chopped up to a bunch of other stuff, which then in turn went to people's 401ks. Mm-hmm. And then when they couldn't pay the mortgage, then the 401ks that some people bought into went down. So this is the same stuff will not happen.
Yeah. And again, the other thing to talk about is other people are saying, hey, Michael, it's 40 today, which it is. 40 is, it's below kind of the average. The average is like 46. But the fastest it ever fell was like 8 points, 9 points, right? So again, I don't get nervous. I get nervous taught at 25. Mm-hmm. I get scared at 20. Mm-hmm. And the lowest it ever got was 18. There was a quarter inside 2005 where it was 18. The lowest Q4 was 19. So again, could it get lower? Absolutely. The other thing people don't realize in a lot of these, I call them YouTubers in their mom's basements, is wage inflation. Mm-hmm. I did some math this morning. Let's see if I have my math with me. I do. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to full screen and stop sharing. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the math, because people don't appreciate that I think we're in a wage inflation cycle. So, you only need a very small wage increase to keep housing as affordable it was, even at higher rates and higher prices. Does that make sense?
It does.
So here's some math for you. I have to look down at my notes so I get these numbers right. So 30-year rate was 3.2, let's call it 6 months ago. It's not quite 4.2, but it could be 4.2 very soon. Let's assume a $300,000 purchase. Let's assume 10% down. We're going to see what kind of guesser you are. Guess the payment difference from a 3.2% 30-year versus a 4.2% 30-year. Do you have a guess at what the monthly payment difference is?
On a $300,000 house?
Yeah. So really a $270,000 loan. Yes.
Gosh, like $500 a month?
$153.
Wow.
So $153. Follow me here, because people don't realize, yes, $153 is enough to get a no answer instead of a yes answer. But let's remember wage inflation. So I'm going to walk you through some math and show you how small your wage increase has to be for you to get the same yes answer. Mm-hmm. Yes, 3.2 is better than 4.2, but I can't go backwards in time. This is about getting a yes answer on a loan. So here's the deal. $153 payment a month times 12 is $1,836. You and I both know that is net. So we need to gross that up. Mm-hmm. So let's assume a 20% tax bracket. That $1,836 turns into $2,295. Mm-hmm. Let's also assume that you need more than just the payment. So I want to take that number times 1.5 because everything else is more expensive. I got it. So that $2,295 becomes $3,442.50. This is amazing. Guess how much of a raise you need, assuming a 2,080 hour year work week, you need to afford this now extra 1% interest. Guess how much you need to make an hour more?
Like $1?
It's $1.66.
Yeah.
So if you get a raise this year of $1.66 or more, your affordability on your house stays the same or gets better at 4.2 than 3.2. This stuff blows people's minds because they don't want to do the math. It's $1.66 an hour if you got a 4.2 versus a 3.2% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. I think most people think you go up a point, you need like $17 an hour more. No, you need $1.66, assuming a 20% tax bracket and a 50% goose up from that. Pretty amazing, right?
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty credible. So again, folks, do the math. Affordability is the number. Stop staring at price charts. Stop listening to people in their mom's basement, because if you're looking at price, you've already missed it. Housing will slow down. I've been telling you we're going to have a housing slowdown for about 9 months. It will happen. We will have less yet. We will actually have more inventory at the end of the year than we do now. Or if we don't, pricing is going to go to the moon. But yes, what do you think of all this? Again, closing thoughts, Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah, I think it's great to break down the math. People don't want to take the time to do that. I think also this is sort of more anecdotal evidence, but there's all these memes and sort of political cartoons these days about, here's a house in the 70s for $60,000. And here's that same house today for $400,000. What they're not showing is that your rate in the 70s might have been 18% and your rate, today or 6 months ago might have been 3%. Yeah. So yes, housing has gotten more expensive, but also we don't see double-digit interest rates anymore like we used to.
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually done work on a 50-year spreadsheet. And the crazy thing is we have a decade where rates went up 300 basis points, housing doubled. All these talking heads on YouTube say that's not possible. Again, if rates go up 300 basis points, housing is supposed to fall 30%. It doubled. Yeah. Why? Because wages went up. Wages doubled in the decade. It's very simple, folks. Again, housing affordability if you want to track one thing, housing affordability, again, Google is your friend. St. Louis Fed's going to have actuals on median price. You're probably going to have to get the affordability index from your association. If you're in California, you are truly lucky. CAR.org has all the data for you. Todd, how can people find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Todd J. Baldwin. You can also find me on YouTube, just my name, Todd Baldwin. And I'll give you almost as good as content as Michael Super will.
No, much better content. Thanks, buddy. Take care.